All right, now it's time to have a conversation. Like we said, we're here at the NSE, and remember, we also are looking for your views and any questions that you may have as to just how this works and how you can make money. That's what Business Now is all about, giving you the tips that take you to the next level. The hashtag is Business Now, and I'm so pleased to be joined now by the CEO of the Nairobi Securities Exchange, Jeff Odundo. Thank you so much.
It's a great pleasure.
Yeah, it's good to be here and be in your space.
Thank you.
Let's start by talking about what you're doing to ease or open up the market to ordinary Kenyans.
Thank you very much, Yvonne, and it's great to have you with us today. As you see, probably that's why the market is performing very well. Yes, so that's been one of our key agendas. How do we provide access to investors to the market? As you rightly put it in your 5 top priorities of investing, the NSE is an exchange that has been here for the last over 64 years. We are now one of the leading exchanges in Africa, the largest in East and Central Africa, and really providing an avenue for Kenyans to really create wealth for themselves. Very simple, as you rightly said, open an account, appoint a broker. The broker will advise you what shares to buy and sell, and that's really the process, so it's quite easy. But what you're trying to do is a couple of things. The first thing we're trying to do, one, is to provide an ease of trading. So how are we doing this? One, we are creating ability for investors to buy and sell shares through their mobile phones. Okay. Today, if you want to trade with a broker, there are some brokers who have set up a mobile trading account where you can actually even open an account from the comfort of your phone, and you're also able then to give instructions to buy and sell based on the advice. So we have good brokers who have done that. A number of our brokers are really spread around the country, so you can go to any of those brokers who have got a wide branch network. Some are banks, and you can be able to go there, and also they have front desk services that allow you to do that. So those are what you're trying to do to make trading very easy. But the other bigger thing we're trying to do is really to educate the public about how to buy and sell shares. What are the benefits? Because as you rightly put it, for a long time people think this is a preserve of a few people. Right. But let me surprise you. The average age of the shareholder in most of our companies is over 50. People in the rural areas, and if you see them coming for the AGMs, yes, it's like an annual ritual event yes, where they come and they carry their pens and papers. And they've gone through the financial statements and they're asking questions. We really miss those AGMs. I think this virtual way of living for now is it's killed a bit of that. Yeah. But that is really the essence: education and providing them access on understanding the market. And that's why we're very happy with this kind of initiatives. It helps us also be able to advance that more often. Yeah. So that's what we're looking at as principally 2 areas.
Great. Let's talk about digitization and how that has worked and helped you grow. I must say I miss the old days of the shouting on the floor in the typical red jacket. I put on one just to pay homage to that point in time. Right. But tell us about digitization and how that has helped you grow.
Digitization has been one of our key agendas in the last few years. We have primarily laid focus on automating the market. So up to about 2006, our market was very manual. We had traders on the floor, and there would be what you call an open outcry, and the person with probably the loudest voice would get his order up the queue. Yes. But we decided to automate the market in 2006, and the journey began with first automating the back side of the market, and that's where the CDSC was formed in 2004. Right. And that began the process of electronic keeping of securities. Now, once that was concluded, we then automated the front end in what we called a wide area network. So today, our stockbrokers are all trading from the comfort of their offices. So that's why we don't have this excitement on the floor. But they've got ability to see the market all at the same time from 9 to 3. Now, just to demonstrate how that has been very successful, when COVID came in last year in March, we had to move all our trading virtually. Right. So not only the ability for our brokers to trade, but also the ability for the entire operation of the exchange to go virtual. So we never had staff here. Everybody was trading from their homes. The operations were being run from the homes. Investors were able to even place orders from their electronic devices, and they would be executed.
You are already ahead of the curve, right?
I'm telling you.
Right.
And surprise you, our turnovers remained equal to what we did in 2019. It was a virtual transition.
Okay.
So digitization has been extremely helpful for us. We are very happy with Kenyans' ability to adapt to digitization. That's another thing.
Yeah.
Kenyans are very savvy today.
Yeah.
Almost 30–40% of this trading is going on electronically.
Right.
Kenyans understand how to trade on their devices. They can see their accounts. They can actually be able to select shares. And some are able to trade straight through without necessarily talking to a broker.
Okay.
Because of all the
of their understanding
infrastructure.
and, yes, and access to that. So we're talking about, the NSE being perceived to be for the rich, sophisticated investor.
Yes.
But there's also a sense in which listing at the Securities Exchange is also perhaps perceived in the same light,
yes.
right? So it's for the bigger companies. But yet you have a program in place, the Buka program, to sort of have, SMEs and some smaller businesses come on and list. So talk to us about, the Buka program, how you're getting companies ready for a listing, what you're looking for. I mean, we've seen at least some evidence of the first phase. So tell us about why this is important to get more companies here.
So thank you very much for that question. Now we have, let me explain the structure of the market, because I think that's very important. So our current market is structured into 4 key segments. So we have the main investment market segment, and that's really for large cap companies, the top 5 that you consistently hear about.
Yes.
We have an alternative market segment, which is more of a mid-size segment. And then we've got the growth and enterprise market segment, which is for the small SME companies and companies that haven't attained certain requirements to really go into any of the other 2. And then we've got what you call the fixed income market segment, which is for the bond trading, and the companies who want to raise bonds are able to go there. So the growth and enterprise market segment really addresses the needs of an SME. Let me explain why. For you to be onboarded onto the growth and enterprise market segment, you do not need a profit record. Normally, to be listed in any of the segments on the exchange, you must have at least a profit record from either 2 to 3 years. Secondly, you must have a minimum share capital of 20 million and above to be able to go to the other 2 segments. Here we just require you to show us 10 million of assets, just to demonstrate what you have.
All right.
And then just 1 year working capital.
Okay.
The requirements are really lowered. The minimum float that you can issue is 15% of your company, and then you must have 25 shareholders within 3 months. So it's very accommodative. But we realized we were not getting enough traction even after doing all that. So we decided, let's go a step further, and we developed a program we called Ibuka. Ibuka means emerge.
Yeah.
You know, Ibuka. So we wanted companies to emerge. And what Ibuka does, it has 2 platforms. The first platform is incubation. So incubation is where we allow the companies to onboard. You don't need to have any of all those requirements we spoke about. You just need to be a registered company. You need to have all your documentation, your PIN, and have directors. So once we onboard you in this program, we take you through a training between 3 and 18 months to prepare you. So if you didn't have a board, we tell you, okay, now the board include this and this, have this kind of board management, you must have a finance person and that kind of thing. And then we go up, look at the structure, we look at your strategic plan.
Okay.
Do you know what surprised us? Some companies have got very good ideas, but they're not properly structured. So they can't sell.
Okay.
So we help you develop that. We help you develop some policies and procedures just to make you formal, not very expensive. And then we begin the journey towards taking you to speak to investors.
Okay.
We even tell you what kind of capital to look for. Your company maybe is better off looking for a shareholder.
Okay.
Or your company is better off taking a corporate debt.
Okay.
So we balance it too.
I see.
And what we see that once you clear the incubation program, we take you to acceleration. Acceleration now makes you now become the company good to go.
Yeah.
And then you're able now to meet big investors and talk to them. So we have got those 2 programs, very great success. Last year we had our first graduate, Homeboys.
Homeboys, yeah.
And we hope to get a bit more this year.
Okay.
But it's a program open to all companies. Our target company are startups. We're looking at mid-sized companies, even large companies are in Ibuka because they just want to go through a validation.
I see.
So it's a very, very interesting platform.
And what about young people? What programs do you have to get young people interested in the NSE? I remember there was a university's NSE challenge some time back. So talk to us about that and, getting young people on board, because I think after COVID, every young person is looking for, the next best thing and ways to invest. And like you said, a majority of the shareholders are 50 and above. How do we get to change that so that it's, 25 to 35, possibly even younger?
I'd like to start my answer to that question by just asking the young people. If today you are asked who are the top 5 rich people in the world, you'll probably meet Jeff Bezos, you'll meet Bill Gates, you'll meet Mike Zuckerberg.
Yes, yes.
All of them are valued by the shares they have in their companies. So the most successful way to become wealthy, in my view, is to invest in shares.
Okay.
Because it's an easier way to access. It's the most easier way to discover value. Because today, if I have land, the value is basically my opinion.
Okay.
It's not necessarily that, unless the day I want to sell it. And again, shares are then liquid, and you can buy and sell and make more capital gains. So I think there's a great opportunity for the youth to really change their investment psychology, or rather change the Kenyan investment psychology from land to shares and other capital market assets. And that's the way we want to drive it. Now, how are we going to address this? One is through education. And we launched the investment challenge over 13 years ago. And this was targeted towards the universities and colleges, because that was our target market, because they were the new
they were the ones who were going
coming
to
to employment. They were going to Ibuka.
They were going to Ibuka, right?
into the job, the job world.
Market,
And so they needed to start.
Yeah.
And so that program was basically a platform that allows you to trade on a simulation. It's more like virtual trading, giving you virtual money just to educate you how to buy and sell. And at the end of the program, the winners would be given money, which would then invest direct in the trade. So that program is going on. We didn't hold it last year because of COVID, because it needs a bit of more physical presence, and we're trying to see how we can reconfigure it. And we're also creating new platforms. Like, for instance, we are now in the process of, we launched a market called derivatives, where individuals can actually buy and sell contracts. So you don't have to buy Safaricom shares, you can buy a Safaricom contract. It trades just like the share. It's a lot cheaper, it's a lot faster. You get your money real time. And I think this is what we're trying to do, to really make, because youth like momentum. So we have to create something that excites them. And this is the kind of thing we are creating. And again, through all these platforms that we have, the youth is our key target market, and hence digitization is something that we also going to use to achieve that.
Right. Speaking of exciting, some would say there's been a bit of lack of it. When was the last time we had an IPO? Over 6 years ago?
Yes, an IPO was 6 years ago.
Yeah. Right. So, you know, I mean, IPOs tend to create a buzz, even amongst people who aren't typical, you know, traders in stocks. I mean, I think you would remember one of the biggest one, I think the one 6 years ago, the telco, and everybody is seeking to buy shares. And that sort of helps to also, you know, spread the word and the gospel about trading shares. You know, I wonder what your thoughts are, and maybe when we can see another one, and why we haven't seen any listing in so long.
Yes, the listing has been one of our, I would say, not really a setback, but one of the achievements we have not done in the last 6 years, as you rightly put it. But there are very many factors to drive that. So I don't want to focus on the past, because a lot of this is been external to us. Some of them are internal, and pretty much that. So we are focusing now on the forward. Now, we are very, very optimistic of listings coming now, between now and next year. Why are we saying this? Now, post-COVID, a lot of businesses have looked at have remodeled their businesses and have realized that one form of financing is not good enough. Today, if you wanted to go to a bank, the first thing they'll ask you, how much of your own capital have you put in your business? Now, how do you get own capital? It's through selling shares or through getting a shareholder in your business. So, you know, that education is now very, very, is getting currency among companies, where they need to strengthen their balance sheets in order to get even debt. And so that's one thing we are driving. Secondly, we are also working very closely with the government to really try and see if they can unlock one or two big companies. As you always know, that when you have a big parent who brings something on the table, then the rest...
There's enough for everybody.
Yeah, it creates a catalytic effect.
True.
So I can say that we are optimistic between now and next year. We'll have a couple of IPOs. And pretty big ones, very, very sizable, because a lot of investors a lot of companies are saying they prefer funding from the public as opposed to other forms. It's becoming a prioritized sort of funding. So look for that.
Okay, we'll be waiting in the next 1 or 2 years. Yeah. I mean, certainly it gets us all excited. Yes. And sometimes for a change, something different from what we're used to seeing in the news. So it's great to have something to talk about. Jeff, while I have you here with us, we asked our viewers to send us their questions and their thoughts and some of the things that they think about the NSE. I'd like us to listen to one gentleman who gave his views on that. Let's watch.
Majina naitwa Paul Wangasha, mimi ni mkazi wa Narumuru, na kuna hii mambo inaendelea ya Nairobi Stock Exchange, ni ya kwamba ni kwangu binafsi ni njia mzuri ambayo ni ya kuinvest, lakini tungetaka wakuje to the ground so that watu ambao hawajui mambo ya Nairobi Stock Exchange wakuje wawafunze, na ili hata wenye hawajui what is Nairobi Stock Exchange wakuja wajulishwe, na pia hata sisi ambao tuko na interest wakuja watuambie tukiinvest ama tukiwekeza kule itachukua muda gani ili na sisi tuanze kubenefit nayo. Lakini naona ni Nairobi Stock Exchange ni kitu mzuri ambayo inaweza tusaidia na inaweza saidia ambaye mwananchi wa kawaida ambaye anajaribu kujiinua kimaisha.
All right, so Jeff, he's talking about expanding the knowledge out to mashinani. What would you have to say to that?
One of the things that we're happy about as the NSE is really the devolved nature of our country today, where we have counties, all 47 counties, and we are trying to work with the counties to really come up with outreach programs. So you'd find, for instance, we go to a county, we invite people for sort of an NSE Investment Day, and we take them through education on some of that. We've done that with 1 or 2 counties at the moment, and we've seen some very good interest coming through. The second thing that we want to achieve is really make trading very simple and drive that education simple. I want to just say that on the back of the success we had with Emma Kiba, if you remember Emma Kiba. Right. Emma Kiba is the first time a country ever issued a retail bond on the phone.
Yes.
Do you know how many subscribers we got?
Yeah.
500,000. 500,000 people could register, could get a bit of education on the bond, and could use that. So using technology, we'll also be able to take this to the ground using our national language, Kiswahili, tuwafunze, tueleze, vile kununua hisa, pole pole. So that's what we're trying to do. And then finally is working with our brokers. So as I said, some of our brokers have got branch networks.
Yes.
And they are all over the country.
Right.
So we want to take that education there. So let me just thank that viewer for those comments and encourage him. Aende kwa any of those brokers, atatumikiwa vile anataka, ataelezewa program zote za kununua hisa. So that is really the way it will be done. Okay,
all right. I want to thank you so much. One, for your time here this afternoon and just speaking to us about, what we can look forward to with the Securities Exchange, and also for hosting us here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Jeff Odundo is the CEO of the Nairobi Securities Exchange. But we're not done yet on the show, not by a long shot. I want to get into the technical ones. And by the way, please feel free to ask as simple a question as you think it is. No question is off limits. Tunafukuza ujinga on the show this afternoon. And we'll be with Kevin Gige, who's an equities trader from Genghis Capital. Anything, no matter how simple, we will get your questions answered today. It's all about creating wealth and creating that together here at the Nairobi Securities Exchange. We are live here on location. We're taking a break. We'll be right back.